I knew the moment we pulled up to Victoria's house that I'd made a mistake coming here. The colonial mansion sprawled across manicured grounds like something from a magazine spread, all white columns and black shutters against the brilliant Vermont autumn. Leaves crunched under our tires as Daniel parked our modest sedan between a Mercedes and a BMW. Through the passenger window, I could see guests milling on the wraparound porch, champagne flutes catching the afternoon light. Mommy, is this where Mason lives? Lily pressed her face against the back window, her dark eyes wide. Just for now, sweetie. I glanced at Daniel. He met my gaze with that steady look I'd fallen in love with years ago, the one that said we'd face whatever came together. Big house! Noah bounced in his car seat, 4 years old and oblivious to the knot forming in my stomach. I smoothed my simple navy dress as we climbed out. It was the nicest thing I owned, but standing in the circular driveway of this estate, I felt like I was wearing burlap. Other mothers swept past in designer everything, their jewelry catching the light, their laughter high and practiced. Daniel took my hand. His palm was warm and solid. You look beautiful. I look like the help. You look like yourself. That's better. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to be the kind of woman who didn't care about these things, who could walk into this world of old money and perfect facades without feeling small. But as we approached the front door, Lily's small hand clutched mine tighter, and I knew she felt it too. That feeling of not quite belonging. The foyer hit me like a slap. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, a grand staircase sweeping upward like something from Gone with the Wind. Waiters in crisp white shirts circulated with trays of hors d'oeuvres that probably cost more than our weekly grocery budget. Eleanor, you made it. I turned to see Victoria gliding toward us, and glide was the only word for it. She didn't walk. She performed the act of movement, each step calculated for maximum effect. Her silk dress probably cost more than our car payment. Diamonds glittered at her throat and wrists. Her honey blonde hair fell in perfect waves to her shoulders. She air-kissed near my cheek without actually touching me, leaving a cloud of expensive perfume in her wake. And you brought the whole family. How sweet. Her eyes swept over me from head to toe. It took maybe 3 seconds, but I felt every millisecond of that judgment. I love what you've done with this place, I managed. The decorations are beautiful. Oh, this? Victoria waved her hand dismissively. Just a little something I threw together. You know how it is with children's parties? They expect so much these days. She leaned closer, dropping her voice to what she probably thought was a confidential tone. Though between us, I'm exhausted. The party planner, the caterers, coordinating everything. It's been absolute chaos. I thought about the parties I threw for Lily and Noah, homemade cake, games in our backyard, paper decorations I stayed up late making. Were those somehow less because they didn't cost thousands of dollars? Where's Mason? Lily tugged my hand. Can I give him his present? Victoria's gaze dropped to my daughter. Something flickered in her expression, gone too quickly to name. Mason's holding court in the ballroom, sweetie. The presents go on the table by the window. There's quite a pile already. Lily clutched her wrapped gift tighter. We'd spent an hour at the toy store, letting her pick something special. She'd chosen carefully, wanting to get it just right for her cousin. Go ahead, baby. I smoothed her dark hair. We'll be right behind you. She scampered off, Noah toddling after her, and I felt their absence like a loss of armor. So, Victoria turned to Daniel, her smile brightening several watts. How's the job search going? Any prospects? My husband's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. Most people wouldn't notice, but I'd learned to read his silences. Not looking, he said simply. Oh. Victoria's eyebrows rose with practiced concern. Still? Danny, it's been months. Surely there must be something suitable out there. Andrew could make some calls if you'd like. He knows people. The condescension in her voice made my teeth ache. She had no idea. Nobody did. They saw Daniel's lack of traditional employment and assumed failure. Assumed we were barely scraping by on my teaching salary. We're fine, I said. Of course you are. Victoria patted my arm. The gesture felt like being petted by a snake. I just worry, you know. Family takes care of family. If you ever need anything, if money gets tight, you just let us know. We're always happy to help. The offer hung in the air between us, reeking of superiority disguised as generosity. That's kind of you, Daniel said, his voice flat. Not necessary, but kind. Victoria's smile never wavered, but something sharp glinted in her eyes. She didn't like being refused. Well, the offer stands. Now I should mingle. Make yourselves at home. There's food everywhere, and the bar is in the library. Help yourselves to whatever you'd like. She swept away, already laughing at something a cluster of well-dressed women were saying, slipping seamlessly back into her role as hostess extraordinaire. Daniel exhaled slowly. 2 hours. We stay 2 hours, then we leave. Deal. We made our way through the house, nodding at people who looked through us rather than at us. The ballroom, because of course there was a ballroom, had been transformed into a child's fantasy. Balloon arches in blue and gold, a magician performing in one corner, a face painting station, a candy buffet that probably cost more than I made in a month. Mason stood in the center of it all, a miniature king holding court. He was a handsome kid, I'd give him that. Dark hair like his father, Victoria's green eyes. But there was something in the way he commanded attention, the way the other children orbited around him, that made me uneasy. Lily and Noah stood at the edge of the crowd, holding their gift, waiting. My heart squeezed. That's what we'd always be in this world, standing at the edges, waiting for permission to approach. I started toward them, but Victoria materialized as if summoned. Mason, darling, look who's here. Your cousin Lily brought you something. Lily stepped forward, her face lighting up with hope. Happy birthday, Mason. I picked this out special for you. Mason took the package, barely glancing at her. Thanks, I guess. He tossed it carelessly onto a nearby table and turned back to his friends. I watched my daughter's smile crumble. Lily, Victoria's voice cut across the room. Sweetie, why don't you and your brother go play with the other children? There's a bouncy castle outside. Okay, Lily's voice was small. She took Noah's hand and started toward the French doors leading to the garden. I was about to follow when I heard the crash. Everything seemed to slow down. I turned in time to see Noah stumble over his own feet, his small body colliding with a side table. Crystal glasses tumbled. Red punch arced through the air in a perfect, terrible arc. It splashed across Victoria's silk dress like blood. The room went silent. Even the magician stopped mid-trick. Oh my God. Victoria stared down at herself. At the spreading crimson stain across her dress, when she looked up, her face was white with rage. Are you kidding me right now? I was already moving, scooping Noah into my arms. He'd started crying, frightened by the noise and the sudden attention. I'm so sorry. I'll clean it up. I'll pay for the dress. Pay for it? Victoria's laugh was ugly. Eleanor, this is Valentino. You couldn't afford to pay for the hem. The words hit me like a physical blow. Around us, conversations had stopped. Guests watched with the avid interest of spectators at a car crash. It was an accident, Daniel said, his voice low and controlled, dangerously controlled. An accident, Victoria whirled on him. Your children are running wild, destroying property. This is a sophisticated party, not a daycare. Lily had shrunk back against my legs. I could feel her trembling. They're kids, I said. Kids have accidents. Noah didn't mean to. That's the problem, isn't it? Victoria took a step closer. Her voice dropped, but it carried to every corner of the silent room. You don't teach them any better. You let them run around like little animals because you can't afford the kinds of activities that teach discipline and manners. Ballet classes, etiquette lessons, the things that matter. My vision tunneled. All I could see was Victoria's perfect face, twisted with contempt. All I could hear was my daughter's quiet crying. What are you saying? My voice didn't sound like mine. I'm saying that at a party like this, there's no place for children who don't know how to behave. There's no place for people who can't afford to replace what they break. She gestured at Lily and Noah. There's no place for cheap kids from cheap homes. The words hung in the air. Cheap kids. Something inside me that had been bending finally snapped. I set Noah down gently and stepped forward, putting myself between Victoria and my children. When I spoke, my voice was steady, quiet, deadly calm. Don't you ever call my children cheap. Victoria blinked, seemingly surprised that I'd found my voice. Excuse me? You heard me? I looked her directly in the eye, and I didn't look away. My children are not cheap. They are kind and curious and full of love. They are everything beautiful in this world. And if you think a designer dress makes you better than them, if you think money makes you worthy and lack of it makes them less, then you are the sorriest excuse for a human being I have ever met. How dare you? No. How dare you? My hands were shaking, but my voice stayed strong. How dare you stand in this house and judge my family? How dare you treat my daughter like she's not good enough to breathe your air? She's 7 years old, Victoria. 7. And you just taught her that people with money can be cruel without consequences. I think you need to leave. Victoria's face was red now, splotchy under her foundation. Get your poorly raised children and get out of my house. Your house? The new voice came from the doorway. Deep, authoritative, unfamiliar. A man in his 50s stood there, expensive suit, silver hair, carrying a leather briefcase. Behind him, a woman in her 60s, gray-haired and sharp-eyed, also dressed for business. Victoria turned. Who are you? This is a private party. Thomas Miller. The man stepped into the room. I'm the property manager for the Hayes Family Trust. This is Margaret Collins, the family attorney. We need to speak with Daniel Hayes. Daniel moved to stand beside me. His hand found mine, squeezed once. I'm Daniel. Mr. Hayes, we apologize for the interruption, but we have urgent documents requiring your signature. They couldn't wait until Monday. Thomas looked around the ballroom, at the decorations, the guests, the ruins of the party. I wasn't aware you were hosting an event today. We're not, Daniel said calmly. My brother and his wife are. Thomas frowned. Your brother, Andrew Reynolds? That's right. The property manager and the lawyer exchanged a look. Mr. Hayes, Margaret Collins said carefully, Andrew Reynolds doesn't own this property. You do. As primary beneficiary of the Hayes Family Trust, you are the sole owner of this estate and all properties within the trust portfolio. I have the documentation right here. The silence that fell over the room was absolute. Victoria's face went from red to white in the space of a heartbeat. What? Daniel's hand tightened on mine. When he spoke, his voice was gentle, almost apologetic. The house is mine, Victoria. It always has been. Dad left everything to me when he died. I let you and Andrew live here because you needed a place. And I thought family should help family. You let us... Victoria couldn't seem to finish the sentence. She looked at Andrew, who'd appeared in the doorway and now stood frozen, his face slack with shock. The monthly allowance you've been receiving, Margaret continued, pulling documents from her briefcase, comes from the trust. Mr. Hayes has been covering all property expenses, taxes, maintenance, utilities, staff salaries, everything. I watched Victoria process this information, watched her perfect facade crack and crumble. Around us, guests whispered behind their hands. But you don't work, Victoria said weakly. You don't do anything. I manage the trust, Daniel said. I manage family investments. I work from home so I can help Eleanor with our children, because that's what matters to us. You just assumed because I don't commute to an office that I was unemployed. And you let me? Victoria's voice broke. You let me say all those things. You let me think you were poor. I didn't let you do anything, Daniel's voice hardened. You made assumptions. You treated my wife and children like garbage because you thought money made you better than them. I wanted to see what kind of person you really were. Now I know. He turned to Thomas. I want them out. Today. Now. Daniel, please. Andrew finally found his voice. We can work this out. Victoria didn't mean... She meant every word. I looked at Victoria, at the woman who'd called my children cheap, and felt nothing but pity. You stood in a house that wasn't yours and treated us like we were beneath you. You made my daughter cry. You called my babies cheap. And for what? Designer dresses, expensive parties, things that don't matter to anyone with a functioning heart? Eleanor, I'm sorry. Victoria's eyes were wet now, her perfect makeup running. I didn't know. If I'd known... If you'd known Daniel owned the house, you would have treated us differently, but you didn't know, and that's the point. You showed us exactly who you are. I gathered my children close, one on each side. Come on, babies, we're going home. Wait. Margaret stepped forward. Mr. Hayes, the documents? I'll sign them Monday. Daniel kept his arm around my shoulders, solid and steady. Family emergency. We walked through that beautiful house for the last time. Past the gaping guests, past the ruins of the party, past the crystal and marble and all the trappings of wealth that Victoria had worshipped. Outside, the autumn air was crisp and clean. Leaves spiraled down from the trees, gold and red against the blue sky. Our car looked shabby in that circular drive, but it was ours. Paid for. Honest. I buckled the kids into their seats. Noah had stopped crying, distracted by a leaf he'd found. Lily was quiet, processing. Mommy? Her voice was small. Are we really cheap? I crouched down until I was eye level with her. Took her small face in my hands. Listen to me, baby. You are not cheap. You are not less than anyone. You are kind and smart and brave. You are worth more than all the money in all the banks in all the world. Do you understand me? But Aunt Victoria said, Aunt Victoria was wrong. Some people think having expensive things makes them important. But the only thing that makes you important is how you treat other people. And you, my sweet girl, treat everyone with kindness. That makes you rich in the ways that matter. She thought about this, her dark eyes serious. Then she nodded. Okay, Mommy. Okay. I kissed her forehead and straightened up. Daniel was leaning against the driver's door, watching us with an expression I couldn't quite read. When I reached him, he pulled me close. You were magnificent in there. I was terrified. You were magnificent anyway. He kissed the top of my head. I should have told her the truth months ago. I shouldn't have let her treat you like that. You were testing her. I was being cruel. To you. I'm sorry. I looked back at the house, at the figures visible through the windows. Victoria stood in the ballroom, surrounded by her perfect party, her perfect things, crying alone. She called our children cheap, Daniel. I know. What kind of person does that? The kind who measures worth in dollars instead of love? He opened my door. Let's go home. Home. Our small house with its creaky floors and outdated kitchen. Our yard where the kids played. Our life that Victoria had pitied. As we drove away, I watched the mansion shrink in the side mirror. It was beautiful, I'd give it that. But beauty without kindness was just a pretty prison. Mommy? Noah piped up from the back seat. Can we have cake? We didn't get any cake, Lily said sadly. I turned to look at them, my babies, my treasures, my everything that mattered. You know what? Let's stop and get ice cream instead. We'll have our own party. Really? Lily's face lit up. Really? The biggest sundaes they've got. As Daniel drove us toward town, toward ice cream and sticky fingers and real laughter, I thought about Victoria standing in her ruined dress, about Andrew facing the loss of his borrowed life, about Mason growing up in a world where money mattered more than compassion. I thought about the look on Victoria's face when she realized the truth, when her perfect world shifted under her feet. And I thought about my children, buckled safely in the back seat, already forgetting the hurt because we'd taught them that love matters more than things, that family isn't about blood, but about showing up and doing the hard work of caring. Did you really buy that house just to let them live there? I asked Daniel quietly. Dad left it to me. Andrew wanted it. Victoria needed it to feel important. It seemed easier to let them have it than fight about it. He glanced at me. But you don't get to treat my family like trash and keep living in my house. Some lines you don't cross. What happens now? Thomas will handle the eviction. They'll have 30 days to find somewhere else. The house will go on the market unless we want to keep it. Do you? Daniel was quiet for a moment, considering. What would we do with a place that big? Fill it with love instead of expensive things. He smiled, the real smile he saved just for me. Or we could sell it, put the money in the kids' college funds, and stay exactly where we are, where we're happy. I vote for that. Motion carried. We pulled into the ice cream shop and the kids cheered. As we piled out of the car, Lily took my hand. Mommy, I'm glad we don't live in that big house. Why's that, baby? She looked up at me with those dark eyes, so wise for 7 years old. Because it seemed lonely. Our house is better because it has us in it. My throat tightened. You're absolutely right. Inside, we ordered ridiculously large sundaes. We sat in a corner booth, sticky and happy, laughing at Noah's chocolate-covered face, listening to Lily tell elaborate stories about her ice cream being a mountain and her spoon being a brave explorer. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I'm sorry. Please tell Daniel I'm sorry. We'll be out by Monday. Victoria. I showed it to Daniel. He read it, his expression unreadable, then nodded once. Should I respond? I asked. If you want to. I thought about it. About Victoria's tears, about Andrew's shock, about Mason watching his parents' world collapse. About the complicated mess of family and money and pride. Finally, I typed, I hope you find what you're looking for. It won't be in a house or a dress. It's in the people you love and how you treat them. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Think she'll understand? Daniel asked. Probably not today. Maybe someday. Very wise. He stole a spoonful of my ice cream. Hey, tax for being married to someone so smart. We stayed until the sun started to set, until the kids were tired and sugar crashed, until the shop started to close. Then we loaded back into our shabby car and drove home through the autumn twilight. Our house looked small and ordinary as we pulled up. The porch light was on, the way I'd left it. The Halloween decorations Lily and I had made together still hung in the windows. The lawn needed mowing and the paint was peeling near the door. It was perfect. That night, after the kids were asleep, I stood in Lily's doorway and watched her breathe. She'd been so hurt today, so confused by adult cruelty. But she'd also seen her parents stand up for her, seen that love matters more than appearances. Seen that quiet strength can be more powerful than loud superiority. Daniel appeared beside me, wrapped his arms around my waist from behind. Think they'll be okay? I whispered. I think they'll be better than okay. They have you for a mother. Us. They have us. That too. We stood there in the comfortable silence of people who'd weathered storms together. Outside, the wind rustled through the trees. Somewhere a dog barked. Normal sounds, beautiful sounds. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Margaret Collins. Mr. Hayes asked me to forward this information. The property sold this evening to a couple from Boston. The proceeds will be transferred to your account by end of business tomorrow. The house closes in 60 days, but the Reynoldses have agreed to vacate immediately. M. Collins. She sold it already? I showed Daniel the text. I called Thomas before we went in for ice cream, told him to list it immediately and accept the first reasonable offer. He shrugged. No point dragging it out. That's a lot of money. It's just money. What matters is here. He gestured to the sleeping children, to our small house, to us. This is what's real. I turned in his arms to face him. When did you get so wise? I married you, it rubbed off. Sweet talker. Just honest. He kissed me, slow and gentle. Thank you for today. For standing up to her. For protecting our kids. For being exactly who you are. Someone had to tell her. Might as well be the cheap woman in the cheap dress with her cheap kids. Nothing cheap about you, everything about you is invaluable. I rested my head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Steady? Sure. Home. What do you think Victoria's doing right now? Packing, crying, calling Andrew useless. The usual. Think she learned anything? Daniel was quiet for a long moment. I think she learned that the world isn't what she thought it was. Whether she learns the right lessons from that, I don't know. But it's not our problem anymore. No, it's not. We went to bed that night in our small house with its creaky floors, in our comfortable bed with its worn sheets, and I slept better than I had in months. No more dreading family gatherings. No more swallowing Victoria's condescension. No more watching my children feel less than. We were free. A week later, a package arrived. Inside was Victoria's ruined Valentino dress, professionally cleaned, with a note. I can't fix this. I'm sorry for everything. Please keep it. I don't deserve to wear it anymore. V. I held the expensive silk in my hands, felt its weight, its quality. It really was beautiful, probably cost as much as our mortgage payment. What are you going to do with it? Daniel asked. I thought about it, about Victoria wearing it like armor, about how clothes and houses and things had been her measure of worth, about how wrong she'd been. Give it to charity. Let someone who needs a beautiful dress for a job interview or a special occasion have it. Let it do some good in the world. You're a better person than I am. No, just a different person. I folded the dress carefully. She spent so long building walls with expensive things. I'm not going to become her by holding grudges. That Sunday, we took the kids to the park. The leaves were at their peak. Brilliant reds and golds against the blue October sky. Lily and Noah ran through the fallen leaves, shrieking with laughter. Other families played nearby. Dogs chased frisbees. Teenagers threw a football. It was ordinary and beautiful and ours. Mommy, look, Lily called. She'd found a perfect red leaf, still bright, uncrushed. She ran over to give it to me like it was treasure. And it was treasure. More valuable than any diamond Victoria had worn. It's beautiful, baby. Thank you. I love you, Mommy. I love you too. More than all the leaves on all the trees. She giggled and ran back to play. I looked at Daniel. He was watching our children with that expression he got sometimes, like he couldn't quite believe his luck, like we'd been given something precious and he was determined to protect it. Hey, I said softly. He turned to me, smiled. Hey yourself. We did okay today, at the party. We did okay. We did great. Yeah, we did. The wind picked up, sending a spiral of leaves dancing around us. Noah chased them, arms outstretched, laughing. Lily joined him, twirling like a dancer. Our children, our treasure, our cheap, invaluable, irreplaceable babies. In the distance, I thought about Victoria's house being packed up, being emptied of its perfect things. I thought about her learning to live differently, learning what mattered. Maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't. But that was her journey now. Ours was here, in this park, in these moments, in the laughter of our children and the solid warmth of my husband's hand in mine. Ice cream after? Noah called. We just had ice cream last week, Daniel called back. But I'm growing. You're always growing. That's why I need ice cream, I laughed. He's got a point. Don't encourage him. Too late. I'm already corrupted by his flawless logic. We stayed until the sun started to sink, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. We stayed until the kids were tired and happy and ready for home. We stayed until the moment was perfect and complete. Then we loaded into our shabby car and drove home through the autumn evening. Sticky-fingered children in the back seat. Ice cream promised, love given freely. And that colonial mansion in Burlington stood empty, waiting for a new family to fill it with something better than expensive things and hollow pride, waiting to become a home instead of a showcase. But that wasn't my story anymore. Mine was right here, in this car, in these moments. In the simple, beautiful truth that love matters more than anything money can buy. And we were rich beyond measure.